films, but to just follow through the discussions, which have been great. Maybe I can bring it back to the questions of Dina's earlier questions about whether these are a new kind of political films, right? I think in a way this is very important in differentiating, for example, as we have been talking about the Hong Kong film versus the other films. Because the Hong Kong film is much, I think, a more political film than the other films, partly because it's we understand politics as a form of participation. We understand politics as some kind of actual involvement, more so actively in with actions and with communications, more so than appreciations. So in that sense, I think the Hong Kong film is much, you can say, successful in that case as a political film. Also because it has been prepared by the Occupy movement, the Umbrella movement, which has been I would say, the most important political events in the last decade. I would say one of the most important events in the last decade internationally. The Umbrella movement able to draw so many people for such an extensive period of time on certain political issues. So this city has already been highly politicized in a good way or bad way. And then when something comes up, we know that the movement didn't go on. There wasn't any way of resolving the many problems. And when 10 years came in, a lot of the energies are still there because the energy wasn't able to be released. So 10 years captured that very, very, again, in a very awkward way. That this is a film, not necessarily the best kind of film, but it was able to release some of the people's anxiety. It touches on some kind of collective level, more so than the individual level. So in a way, we can understand that, for example, 10 years Japan and 10 years Taiwan, due to the atmosphere of the people, of the place and of the people and the films itself, it wouldn't be creating the same effect. Yeah. That's one thing. And I would like to go back to earlier questions about the individual films. To me, I really like the Thailand collections a lot. I think among the 4 sets, it's cinematically, I think the Thailand set was very aesthetically and cinematically very impressive. But the one thing that I'm particularly interested in is the idea of the people. Again, this has been some of the issues that I've been thinking a lot. And in the Thailand sessions, or Thailand collection, I find the idea of the people most intriguing and most complex, more than the other set of film. Probably because a lot of people in Thailand are grappling with this idea of the people. For example, in the segment, in the Sunset film, short film, it is about censorship, it's about the state. But we also realize that the sort of government official or the military person was also responding to a call from some of the people who wanted the show to be closed. So in a way, there's a populist kind of pressure there in this film. So it is more like the state and the people associating into a much larger kind of like a atmosphere circulating the art exhibition. As far as Catopia, it's definitely about the fear of the people, about the individuals worrying how one is being felt and one is being penalized or stigmatized by the people. You can say the people are the cat people. You can call them the government, you can call them the state, but you can also call them, certain aspects of the people. And I think this planetarium is clearly about populism. And so it's also the Song of City, very subtly. Again, we do not understand too much of the background, but I can see that in this set of films, we're also all talking about the certain fear, and the fear is not very clearly articulated as this date. It's unlike the Hong Kong case. The fear was much clearly directed to a particular regime or authority, while for example, in 10 years Thailand, it wasn't as direct and it's much more nuanced to me. And so in that sense, I do think that the Taiwan collection is very interestingly depoliticized. I also share the same feeling when I was watching the Taiwan's collection. For example, in a making of about this advertisement production, this is probably the most light-hearted segment among the whole, 2 dozen films, short films. And it's very peculiarly, you can say, optimistic. Even though he was talking about ultimately it's about worrying about that we will never be able to have enough young babies.
Yeah.
But
Very
at the
low
same,
birth rate.
the birth rate,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, that anxiety came from this patriarchal figure who happens to own this company who made this advertisement, and also very open-minded, allowing the gay couples to become the parents more so than the regular heterosexual couples to be the parents. And so he is both very traditional in terms of still having the same kind of Confucian family value and the prospect to the future. We talked about the future also, but at the same time, he's also very open-minded. So it was very interestingly about how, for example, in 10 years Taiwan, you can say probably the least pessimistic set of films. So I don't know whether this is the reason why you dislike it, but I do feel that if we talked about the 4 sets of films together, the 10 years Taiwan has its own very interesting kind of chemistry there, which set it aside from the